Hopefully, I formatted this correctly. But first, discussing obesity. The personal example I had of this was one of my aunts struggled with obesity for a majority of her life, had a lot of health problems, and she went through weight loss surgery about last year. And a lot of my family on my dad's side is constantly called lazy or not doing enough. They're older in age, not able to work out and get around as much. They're mothers, grandparents, and caretakers. After my aunt got the surgery, she had comments on Facebook saying she looked good and stuff like that, but there would still be family members that talked behind her back about the weight loss and how it changed her attitude, that she had kind of cheated by losing the weight with gastric bypass, and other comments like that. And it just had a negative connotation. Her health improved and she was way more mobile than she was before, but she was still judged for her method of weight loss. And it's really clear how society views body size and how that affects people's individuality, whether that's theirs to face or not. Um, that's to their face or not. And CC25, the author is good. And then we also see in the text with Hansen and Dye, they both discuss that obesity functions as a form of social deviance. It's not just solely a medical condition. Good draws from the concept of stigma in society and describes it as an abomination of the body, where individuals are made to feel flawed, lack self control, things like that. Noting that obesity is visible to peers and difficult to conceal, and that these stigmas are constant and inescapable for both the individual person and for outside perspectives as well. There's also reinforcement by media portrayals and then also with health professional biases as well. Hansen and I discuss this by showing that medical solutions such as weight loss surgery does not erase stigma, but there are still new stigmas that arise within someone. There's always going to come up with something to say about it. There's always a can't win either way kind of situation. And if they get weight loss surgery or don't lose it the right way, then society deems it that these people are labeled as lazy or cheating or other comments that are made. Um, it's labeled both as deviant with society, with both obesity and the method of weight loss. The real life example I gave to this was a lot of people talk about Adele's body size, Rebel Wilson. A more recent example would be Lizzo. She openly talks about using Ozempic and injections in order to decrease her body weight. Even before Adele's weight loss, and even the same with Lizzo, they both had a lot of praise for confidence, body positivity, things like that. And even after they lost weight, they were saying they no longer represented that, and people made a lot of judgments. Either way, there was body policing about their moral judgment and the methods of their weight loss, and that body type is not just seen as something medical or seen as unhealthy, but people think it as a moral failure or laziness or things like that when society feels like they need to comment on it or even encourage to correct it at times. Um, Moving on to discuss body modification. I myself have multiple tattoos and body piercings that are clearly visible. I like the way that I look with or without them. I'm a big fan of art and creative expression, and I use my tattoos to represent pieces of my life. I see my piercings as highlighting or adding two parts of my body that I like, and I feel like it just enhances it. However, I'm in school for a pretty strict profession for the most part. I have to be professional when attending interviews, even meetings with my psychology group as a representing board member. I've even had comments made about my tattoos from my family. I've been told to hold back in order to seem more professional. And I've even had to learn from family members how to appropriately cover them up. And I tend to dress in long sleeves for interviews or things like that, even though it may be hot or uncomfortable. As far as piercings, I've bought clear ones. I have ones I can take out temporarily for these reasons. The only thing I've strayed away from is I've always wanted to dye my hair. However, that's one thing I can't really hide, and so I've avoided altogether for these purposes. All that to say, I would love to keep my tattoos and piercings shown. It's just the way that they are seen with societal expectations and professionalism and views like that. It is seen as deviance, and that I may not be good at my job or as intelligent or things like that due to my appearance. We see with CC19 written by Jim Taylor and CC21 written by Thomas and Fuller, both discuss body modification challenges and social norms around beauty, gender, and expressing oneself. There's even discussion of both self injury and piercings, getting into even genital piercings with Thomas and Fuller. The discussion of about many people pursue modifications for aesthetic or even sexual pleasure when it comes to genital piercings, and now piercings even represent a resistance to gender norms and empowerment and autonomy and make one's own personal decisions of the matter. It has become a symbol for women to reclaim their personal choices when it comes to sexual matters and their autonomy. Self expression overall is seen as deviant when they aren't traditionally moral or seen as professional. The societal example I gave was the tattoo artist, entrepreneur, and makeup guru Kat Von D. She's big in the makeup world as far as modified bodies, different kinds of makeup, heavy eyeliner, and things like that. As far as her tattoos, her work on LA Ink got tattoos to be more popular and made body art more mainstream, but was seen as in the media as being unstable, rebellious, and dark, as society expected women to be more feminine and fit within that feminine expectation. I think with older generations, with more conservative ways of thinking, that genital piercings are associated with genital or with sexual deviance. However, I've even had friends in the past talk to me about considering one, and I just think it's more normalized with pop culture and discussions and things like that. Um, I think being someone who's in the professional field, with studying psychology and stuff, there's a lot more relaxed things as far as visible tattoos and piercings, like multiple earrings or body modifications and things like that. So overall, I think it really shows a cultural shift with that. Thank you.